What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This review. I got a review for you. Last weekend I saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and Spider-Man Homecoming is the 6th Spider-Man film from Sony Pictures. Actually, it is a collaboration between Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios, because now we have Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, something that the fans have been waiting for a very, very long time. We did see Spider-Man working with the Avengers in Captain America Civil War, and that was pretty awesome. But it was a bit of a teaser. Now we're getting a full-on film with Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, in a feature-length film that's all about him. Now, this is the third reboot. Sorry, this is not the third reboot. This is the second reboot. There was the original trilogy where Sam Raimi directed Tobey Maguire, and then there was the first reboot, which was The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, where we had Mark Webb direct Andrew Garfield, and now we have Jon Watts directing Tom Holland as Peter Parker in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I was just thinking, we're into the whole Spider-Man thing with 6 films now. 6 films. How could they make this any different? Well, let's just say that if you really loved, or rather enjoyed, Tom Holland's performance as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War, you will love this film, because it's all about him. After all, this is his film, and he nails the part. He nailed the part in Civil War, he nails the part in Homecoming. So all that is awesome. His performance, his portrayal, and the way he handles himself as Peter Parker is awesome. He handles himself even better as Spider-Man. And speaking of which, something that is very, very awesome about this film is that you get a lot of Spider-Man screen time. There's more Spider-Man than even, I would say, Peter Parker, which is really, really awesome. And you get to see a lot of new elements that the previous 5 Spider-Man films haven't really introduced. First of all, we get a lot of nods to the source material. We get a lot of new aspects of the character that we've never seen. We get to see a huge and direct connection with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in terms of having a story that connects him with Tony Stark. And you know how in Captain America Civil War, what he contributed in the tarmac battle was the audition. Well, this is more of him interning for Tony Stark. And that's what it's about. It's about him trying to impress Tony Stark, and that's the direct connection with him and the Avengers. And that is really, really cool, because we're constantly reminded that, hey, this isn't just a Spider-Man film. This is a Spider-Man film within the world of the Avengers. And it's so cool that they actually made that happen, because it's something that we've been waiting for a very, very long time, and there's Easter eggs all over the place. Anyhow, another thing that I loved about this version of the film is not only do they give us a lot of new elements that are introduced into this film, but this is more about high school life, Peter Parker dealing with high school issues, and it's something that we got to see a bit of in the previous 5 films, but they really, really zone in to that aspect of his life. It takes place entirely in high school. He's a high school kid, and not only that, Tom Holland is a teenager playing a teenager, as opposed to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who are adults playing a teenager. So you can see how that really helps in contributing to his performance, because he's still got a very, very young mind. You know what I'm saying? So that works really, really well. Another thing that I really loved about the film is the supporting characters. I won't say that I loved a lot of the sort of supporting characters, but I thought that a lot of the characters were perfectly cast. I love that they all have their moments. A character that I really loved a lot is Ned, played by Jacob Batalon, and his character is just not only funny, but he serves a really, really good purpose. And I love that he's kind of like a sidekick, and it just works really, really well. He's got a lot of crowd-pleasing moments, and his character is written really well, and his portrayal of the character and the dialogue delivery is just fantastic. Jon Watts really put on a great direction for a lot of those scenes. Another thing that I really liked about this film is the villain. The villain is played by Michael Keaton. We all know that he plays the Vulture, and I really like his character, not only as a villain, but more as just like a like a human character, like just as a person. And what's so great about it is that we've seen so many films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where the characters are so standard. The standard Marvel Cinematic Universe villain. They want to take over a company. They want to take over the country. They want to take over the world. They want to take over the galaxy. But here's something a little bit more grounded. It's something a little bit more smaller, but is still a big villain. And as far as I can remember, the only two villains that I've really, really liked in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Baron Zemo in Captain America Civil War and Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. Both films are actually have Spider-Man in it. So I see a pattern developing here. But anyways, they've really improved upon their villains in these two films, Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming. And I just love that it's a character that we can really connect with in terms of, like, you know, him being a more grounded villain. It's not about taking over the world. It's about providing for a family. So it's something that really, really, it resonated with the audience a lot better. It definitely resonated more with me. And I love the direct connections with the rest of the Avengers timeline or the Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline. So very, very cool. A lot of the action was a lot of fun. This was a very fun movie. And, you know, you get your typical web slinging, but it's also a Peter Parker actually learning about his abilities as Spider-Man. Now, one thing that they really did well is that this film is all development. This film is entirely all character development from beginning to end. It's not just one portion that's all development where the previous films did it. You know how in the previous films they just devoted like one of the 3 acts of the film is all development, but in this film it's all development. He's just learning about him as Spider-Man, what he can do, what he's capable of doing, and he's learning about about himself as a person. So it's really, really cool and keeps you engaged from beginning to end. So very, very awesome. This is a fun movie. It is funny. It's a very, very funny film. It's like a laugh-a-thon. There's a lot of funny moments. And I would expect that, especially because John Watts was going for that direction. And in a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, it's always been funny. As a matter of fact, right from the very, very beginning with Iron Man back in 2008, a lot of people were talking about how funny this film is. And they kept up with that tradition. And everybody loves a good laugh. And I can totally feel that the audience is really enjoying this film. I personally enjoyed it a lot. And I actually love the direction that they maintain consistently throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's really, really cool. If I had to point out a weak point in this film, I would say that the romance between Peter and Liz is kind of weak. But I understand that that is not entirely the focus of the film. So I can't really knock the film that much for that, but I didn't really feel that much chemistry. And, you know, I'm so used to seeing these romances in these Spider-Man films that when they hold back on that, it feels a little bit, I'm not used to that. So when you do see that romance, it's just like, this is not as prominent as I would have expected. But anyways, it's not a huge knock on the film. I just thought that they could have put more work into it, but it's really not the main focus of the film. It's more about Peter Parker himself. But anyways, love this film. Great film. They really made a 6th Spider-Man film feel fresh. Not a whole lot of rehash stuff, not a whole lot of things that we've seen before. Fresh stuff and keeping it really, really new, and they did a great job with it. I'm going to give it a 9.25 out of 10. I'm still going to rank this as not the best Spider-Man film, but the second best, because I'm putting this at number 2. I would still put Spider-Man 2 as the best Spider-Man film, because that was truly a fantastic film, especially like at the time that it came out. What a phenomenal film. But this is still quite an achievement. Anyways, 9.25 out of 10. That's all I gotta say in this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm looking forward to seeing Tom Holland again in Infinity War. As always, if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. With this film, I love all the characters in this film. Obviously, I love the direction. I think it's totally stylish, and it's just so fun to watch.